I'm very happy, Francesca, that you made the time to come to Den Haag from Brussels. You were with us yesterday. My first question is a very pertinent one, I think. You've witnessed the festivities of yesterday night. Are you still confident in this group of people that they are the right people at the right place?
Actually, that convinced me that this is the perfect crowd to bring C3S to new heights.
Brilliant. Can you share with us some introductory thoughts before I ask you a few questions?
Yes. So first of all, of course, we all appreciate the privilege of meeting in person. This is my second C3S General Assembly. The first one was remote. So this is really my first opportunity to meet the crowd at large. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank everybody involved in the organization for this great show. Of course, as Commission, we don't see the everyday making of C3S. We are confronted with another side. The Commission manages the space program in all its components, tries to bring it forward and to make it pertinent and meaningful in the European landscape of policies. So what I see is truckloads of paper coming my side from C3S reporting. Just bad joke, excellent reporting and actually very effective. But the reporting is mandatory under the contribution agreement, so we need to go through that step. But this is how the service is made also. And actually, Jean-Noël stole many of my lines, but as coming to the program now, I'm really amazed at how, what other colleagues already mentioned, including Ugo on the opening, how this transition has been managed under strenuous circumstances, which was the late adoption of the space program, the late signing of the contribution agreement, confinement of COVID, and then also, ECMWF becoming a multi-site and having to move people, having to move infrastructures with Bologna. So I think it's been quite impressive on the side of the Commission to see how well and how effectively and how smoothly this was handled. So congratulations from this side. What is really impressive also is the incredible level of maturity that the service has attained in such a short time span, because this was the last of the Copernicus services to come into play. And the success of it is really declined by the variety of user base that we have at the moment. So I think congratulations again. The Commission is very happy, if I may say. Yes.
How do you see, if we can pick up this theme, C3S doesn't exist very long, but it has evolved. How do you evaluate?
Well, as I said, it's incredible what the service has become. And it's not just what it offers, but also, as an example, the way it is packaged. I lost my...
It's
okay.
back. Yeah.
Yes. And so despite the complexity of the information provided, there is a clear structure. We have the feeling, as also witnessed by the users, that this is really well managed and well packaged with lots of features that, for example, the quality, the evaluation and quality control, which really add value to what is provided. I think what's also exciting is, despite the limitations which have been mentioned a few times, what's upcoming. ECMWF has everything very well lined up with this first round of contracts. I think there is a number of features which are really important, which have been vouched by user request, both at at several levels, including policy level. So I think this is a very important thing to underline.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Could you now, we've talked about C3S, could you take us to your own context? What is the European Commission doing to further support the process, the progress that we've witnessed? What are some of the plans that we should be looking forward to?
Okay. Well, as I said before, this is very exciting times. The idea now that C3S is there, it's up and running and well established, is to see how we can make it permeate the life of every European citizen at all levels, either indirectly through policies, which in the end trickle down to the citizen, or even maybe through even simple apps, on which many of us become dependent and might have Copernicus in the background. So the Commission is making its own steps because the program has no value if the users are not there. It's like the beautiful car shown yesterday with no driver. So, and on the Commission side, some of the steps are, for example, the pushing forward of this initiative on thematic hubs. There were two that were launched by official exchange of letter before the summer on public health with CAMS against ECMWF and on coastal systems with Mercator Océan. There is one that it's on which an exchange of letter just came to an end after a little bit of waiting yesterday, I think, on energy, and this time this is an important step for C3S because C3S will be the leading, the coordinating service. Just to say that all the services will be contributing, but C3S will be coordinating that. You've seen yesterday the thematic hubs. What are they? It's another step to bring Copernicus closer to the user and to lower the entry level of the program in general for the general users. So that by collecting information and products at theme level, we ease the journey and we entice non-expert users to use Copernicus products. So there is a number of those lined up. We are prototyping now with these three. There might be one coming, another one, yet another one, a fourth thematic hub coming up sooner. But this is really the moment, the way we make a step to higher, to let's say bring user uptake to another level. Of course, the Commission has a number of initiatives, which we will not discuss here, but many of you maybe know. And those are, for example, the Copernicus Academies and Relays, or the Cassini initiative that prompts startups and so on. It's a very complex program, but a very interesting one. But then with the new space regulation, also EUSPA, the new agency, which I've also seen yesterday, came into play. And the purpose of EUSPA is really to tackle user by market segment. So go to industry, to the base tier in the pyramid, if you want to call it like that, of users. The Commission, on the other side, is tackling core users, as defined in the space regulation. Those are policy DGs, public national administrations, and it's doing so by several initiatives, including the Knowledge Center on Earth Observation, which was launched just about over a year ago. We see already the result and the increasing appetite of DGs for Copernicus product and C3S as well. And through a number of contacts which have been established, and we today have a colleague from Klima which witnessed to this increasing appetite. The idea is, as I said before, that Copernicus should be used for policy. But then last but not least is C3S that tackles the entire range and the entire spectrum of users And they've done so very well, and we wish you to continue as much as possible. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for your contribution. Maybe there are questions for you later on, but let me turn to Sam and ask her, what are your, let's say, main takeaways from the past 3 days?
I think that's a tough question to summarize, but first and foremost is the community, the joy in interacting with this community, in being able to be together in an amazing space, in an amazing city. And we heard at the beginning of the conference how important climate data is to the Netherlands, but to everyone. And I think that it's immensely exciting to be delivering C3S when climate data has never been more important than it is right now. And one of the statistics that I loved, I'm a numbers person, was Bill's estimate of the human years that have gone into the development of ERA 6. It was 1,000 human years in terms of the development between ERA 5 and ERA 6. I can't even attempt to quantify the human years that have gone into the development of C3S, all the science behind it, all the technological development behind it, all of the support is extraordinary. So to be here with you all, to hear the feedback from the users, to hear the same challenges, and this is what Carlo and I very much want to hear in this session of, we do need to continually refine what we're doing and how we're doing it, because it's not just about data. We also provide services, we also provide information. And sometimes we don't get it right off the cuff, but we need to refine it. We need to have use cases, have demo cases to understand what people need, how they need it, and how we can repackage it, whether we're the right organization to do that, or the climate services. A community is such a thriving ecosystem that we also need to maintain our relationships and our collaborations, both upstream and downstream of us as well. So I think, having been here for 3 days and hearing the richness of the expertise in the room and the willingness to share thoughts and perspectives is so immensely rewarding.
Brilliant. Indeed, the sense of community, I feel as an outsider, is very strong amongst you. And the willingness to contribute constructive points of, on the one hand, critique, or on the other hand, advice is fantastic and will drive you forward. Let's continue on that line, perhaps, and see, perhaps a little on your behalf, Sam. What are, given what you've heard and discussed the past 3 days, what are some of the points that are still on your mind that you think could benefit the services of C3S that you would like to contribute? Hold on a second, I think the mic is not on. It needs to go up. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Maciej Kowalczyk from DG Climate. Just want to support Francesca's observation with one specific one from the policy standpoint now for the climate. Is utmostly important to have access to meaningful and accurate geospatial data on the climate. And for us, especially for adaptation policies, when the pace of the change is accelerating, is really very important. So I really appreciate finding out how the efforts are contributing with this data to our policies, and I'm really looking forward to continue using the products and to continue with the initiatives with you.
Thank you very much. Let's see if there's more in the room. Peter said, let's try singing. So let's see this as, quote unquote, the final chance for, at this GA, to share your final thoughts. And if there are none, that's no problem. We'll just move to Carlo for his closing remarks. But it's always good if there's a wealth of information in the room to at least give another chance and see what happens. Is it a song, Peter?
So it's one incredibly practical one, which is that for a vast majority of people here, they're in public sector of their various countries, and public sectors are getting pretty hefty rises. How are we going to cope with that in terms of the programmatic part for the rest of the contracts here, where we might have assumed 1 or 2% pay rises and we're now looking at 5-10% pay rises? That's going to be a huge budgetary issue for a large number of the contracts, I suspect. And the second one was, we were discussing and we were thinking there's really been nothing on what's the rest of the 7-year term of C3S2. Most of these contracts will run through at the latest 2025. What's the picture for the balance of C3S2?
So I'll start on that. I think from our perspective, it's very clear our budget envelope is what it is. And we've heard throughout the conference that because of that budget envelope, we've had to make particular choices. And we are limited in terms of the length of time of contracts that we're able to offer. So within the second phase of Copernicus, there's part 1 and part 2. For some contracts, it may be part 1, part 2, and part 3. Depending on how things evolve. So I guess one of the changes that we're looking at is evolving how we procure Ecvs. So Joachim gave a fantastic presentation to talk about the evolution that has already occurred within the first phase of Copernicus. We're very much aware of the need for data, and we've got a wish list of technologically and scientifically ready and mature products that we'd like to include within this phase of Copernicus. But the reality is that we're also looking at the same challenges of rising costs, particularly for electricity, for running the infrastructure behind the CDS. So we're facing the same challenge, and I don't have a good answer.
Francesca, is there anything you want to say on this?
Maybe exhort ECMWF to use the same flexibility and creativity that they displayed during the first part of the program.
So maybe just to add, at the moment we're seeing very high level of inflation. With the budget we have at this stage, we don't know what will happen in the next few years, but there is not an immediate danger for the program. And in a sense, you're talking about after this first phase, what will happen. All the indication we have is that we have a good budget to run until the end of this contribution agreement. And the level of flexibility we have in our execution of the budget is sufficient to ensure that. Now, the other element with respect to the specific contract, well, it depends, and it will depend what will happen after this first year, I think, because there is, I would assume, in all these contracts, some level of flexibility as the one we have ourselves, and at some point we'll reach a level of flexibility that we reach the limit of elasticity, if you want. We are not there yet, but it's a challenge that we face.
Then I propose we leave it here with regards to this interactive part, and thank Francesca and thank Sam for their contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done.